And today, Dr. Ntizimira will be sharing his insight on naked but not shame. Ubuntu is a resilience of well-being of life until end. Ubuntu is a traditional African philosophy that reflect people to emphasize the importance of community and interconnectedness. Dr. Ntizimira will be discussing how his philosophy can be applied to end-of-life care, and with a focus on the idea that the self is never an isolated, but also a center of relationships. Dr. Ntizimira's work is a powerful reminder of us the importance of collective well-being and the role that community plays in supporting each other through the life's most challenging moments. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Christine Ntizimira come to the stage.
When I finished medical school, my dream was to be a surgeon. Until I met a very young guy, 24 years old, who was really dying with liver cancer. And the sad story, his mom came to me and kneeled before me and said in Kinyarwanda, which is our mother tongue, "Mbabarira mwana wange, mbabarira," which means, I beg you, please. She just wanted if I can give something small to help a son to sleep and wake up no more. I felt that I failed twice. I failed as a physician because I couldn't prescribe morphine that time because the fear and the myth beyond using morphine. And I failed as a Rwandan because in our culture, when elder person kneel before a young person, culturally, you failed. I live in Rwanda, one of the smallest countries in Africa. Rwanda is a small country, but not a small nation. 50% of the population under 20 years, with a population density almost 500 by kilometer square. This is now almost 30 years after the genocide against the Tutsi, where 1 million people died in 100 days. But humanity itself seems lost that time. And I strongly believe that the concept of palliative care will bring back the sense of humanity we lost during the genocide. Why? Because palliative care is not about death. It's about dignity, humanity, life until the end, and Ubuntu. Contrary to the Cartesian philosophy, I think, therefore I am, Ubuntu talk about a soul. We don't define as I, we define as we. It's humanity towards others. Ubuntu values life because it's life until the end. Ubuntu values dignity because treating the disease and treating the person is two different concepts. You can treat the disease without treating the person, but if you treat the person, you must treat the disease. Ubuntu value compassion, understand the local context. Humanness, global is local, as local is global. If we need to bring a global community, we need to start at the local level. And we cannot connect community without connecting identities. Harmony, understand adopting and adopted. We need first to adopt before to adapt, and reconciliation, because the disease fractures individuals, community, and society. In Rwanda, in social context, we have a saying, when you are well, you belong to yourself. But when you are sick, you belong to your family. It's not only about patient autonomy, it's about also community responsibility for the better decision making. So we are using a butterfly approach. And we came with this concept, the Safari concept, relieving patient suffering through family support. Safari means journey. It's nothing with animals. It's just journey in Swahili. And it's decoding language of family members. And the last 10 years, I had almost 800 family meetings. And the concept is based on value, expertise through personal experience. And I came with 12 animal archetypes as a metaphor, as a language of suffering from family members. 3 examples. 1, the giraffe suffering, the distance. It's the suffering when family came with unexpected and realistic expectation from the physician. Our interpretation that demonstrates mistrust to the healthcare providers. Our management, confidence with humility is the solution. Aina suffering, conflict. When there is conflict in the family, parents, brothers, sisters, uncles, cousins, the meaning of that suffering, the patient who is the source of conflict is also the source of connection. Our management is to find who is the lion in the family, the most influential person in the family. And the last example is tortures. Strong shield, people came with miracles, philosophy, and thinking about curable. Our interpretation, meaning there is something left over, unaccomplished work. Management, the choice of the world is significant. So the family meeting is based on looking for the lion or the lioness in the room. And that is the most important thing for decision making, because that person is the one who will be in charge to support the family and reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. So in Africa, we need to use different approach, what I called anthropo-psychological approach, which is combine anthropology and psychology for the better comprehension of community dynamic and different methodologies. I came with this picture from my friends, and when I just realized these dirty ants, which carries clear screws, I came with this poem I wrote on my book. I feel naked when the dignity and the value of patients are viewed through the lens of the disease and not the humanity. I feel naked when I see that access to treatment depends on your place in the world. I feel naked when iniquity, inequality, social injustice, and the culture of me prevail over the connection between people and culture. I feel naked when people are happy to publish data from developing countries, but less eager to support those countries. I feel naked when colleagues from developed countries claim what they were doing is not palliative care. I feel naked because they focused only to the comparison, not to the reality of our compassionate effort to support patient and family with our limited resources. I feel naked when I read the expression of gratitude, satisfaction, hope, and life in the eyes of our patients and their families, just because we are there. But I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed because we are not beholden to hate, guilt, fear, death, stigma, but to life, hope, dignity, and Ubuntu. I'm not ashamed because though I cannot do everything, I must do something. I'm not ashamed at all. And remember, the way people die can reflect how the society lives. So my name is Ntizimira. I'm a palliative care from Rwanda. Thank you.